Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I will be talking about Are You Happy Now? And Planet of the Jellyfish. First, I'm going to talk about Are You Happy Now? Enjoy. On a fine day at the Krusty Krab, Patrick is behind the restaurant climbing out of a dumpster eating a leftover Krabby Patty. The camera then pans over to SpongeBob, showing him reading the Krusty Krab work schedule, much to Squidward's chagrin. Squidward picks up the book SpongeBob was reading and questions on what is so great about it. SpongeBob then claims that the book has a list of his happiest memories. Squidward takes the book and, accidentally, drops it on the grill. However, SpongeBob has multiple copies of the book in a cabinet, and he proceeds to get another one. SpongeBob then asks Squidward if he has the happiest memory, in which he says, no. Feeling concerned, SpongeBob tries to ask Squidward if he can help make the happiest memory for him, which he accepts. First, SpongeBob takes Squidward to a concert. This does not go well, however, since the violin player accidentally shot Squidward in the eye with the violin bow. Then, both of them head to the Bikini Bottom Museum, where one of Squidward's masterpieces is in the museum and is being praised by critics. Squidward is happy until a famous art critic named Fiasco burns his artwork with a flamethrower. After that, SpongeBob takes Squidward on a hot air balloon ride. This does not go well, either, since Squidward is afraid of heights, so SpongeBob tries to get Squidward down by popping the balloon and both of them land on a mountain, which is actually Mount Bikini, ruining Harold's chance to be the first one on the mountain. Then, SpongeBob, Squidward, and Harold slide off the mountain due to an avalanche. When SpongeBob and Squidward slide back to their homes, Squidward sadly resigns that he will never have a happiest memory, let alone one involving SpongeBob. 2 weeks later, Squidward is left in his house feeling and doing nothing. SpongeBob then becomes even more concerned for Squidward and tries to get a hold of him, but to no avail. First, he and Gary go up to Squidward's window, but Squidward closes the curtains. SpongeBob suddenly falls off Gary along with Gary's shell, and SpongeBob gets stuck in the shell and breaks it when he crashes into Squidward's house. Second, he tries calling Squidward to cheer him up, but Squidward throws his phone into SpongeBob's house. Gary gives it to SpongeBob while he is still holding his phone, and SpongeBob yells through the phone, making his ears hurt and breaking both phones. Then he comes out of Squidward's fax machine, but Squidward shreds him to pieces with his paper shredder and dumps him out the window, where Gary puts him back together. Finally, he traps Squidward in a box and takes him to the Krusty Krab, where he reveals that he created a party to try and cheer Squidward up. Unfortunately, SpongeBob failed to get anyone else to come, because they were either busy to work or getting sick at the hospital. Instead, he made 100 papier-mâché life-sized models of himself. Squidward both hates seeing more than one sculpture of SpongeBob's in one place and declares he never even wanted a happiest memory, so he goes berserk and destroys all the papier-mâché sculptures. Ironically enough, he gains pleasure from doing so and claims this to be his happiest memory, much to SpongeBob's own delight. Next, I'm going to talk about Planet of the Jellyfish. Enjoy! The episode starts out with SpongeBob and Patrick catching jellyfish at Jellyfish Fields, when the latter says that if they would not sting, they would be perfect pets. Shortly after, a large alien jellyfish-like monster with large black eyes consumes a jellyfish, and then out of one of the tentacles spits a small pile of pink goo, which morphs into a jellion, a jellyfish with large black eyes. Said jellion is commanded to engulf someone as the Jellion King spits out more jellions. Patrick goes to take a nap, with the jellion following him. As the former naps, the latter stretches out its body so that Patrick is inside of it, then one of its tentacles spits out a tall pile of pink goo, which morphs into Jellion Patrick, whom is Patrick but with large black eyes, same as the jellions. Patrick uses his blue-mouthed tentacles to pick up his net as SpongeBob catches the jellyfish. Jellies swarm into Jellion Patrick's net, and then Jellion Patrick gets an idea to turn everyone in town into Jellion people by giving them jellions. Later at night, SpongeBob and Jellion Patrick arrive at Squidward's house. Jellion Patrick stuffs his last jellion into the latter's mail slot, then the jellion's tentacle spits out a tall light blue pile of goo from the window, which morphs into Jellion Squidward. Both Jellion Patrick and Jellion Squidward wish SpongeBob a good night. SpongeBob sleeps cozily in his bed as the Jellian that originally captured Patrick attempts to capture him, but SpongeBob awakes with insomnia. As he watches a horror movie, the Jellian tries to capture him again, but SpongeBob throws popcorn into the Jellian's mouth, and it starts choking on it, falling behind the couch. The next morning, SpongeBob puts the Jellian into a cage as he leaves for work. It escapes, and consumes Gary as he sleeps, as well as the plant next to him. His tentacle spits out another small pile of goo, which reveals a Jellian-Gary plant hybrid. The scene switches to the Krusty Krab, which is completely filled with Jellian bikini bottomites, except for one normal fish. Said Jellian bikini bottomites order Krabby Patties but hold the mayonnaise, until the non-Jellian orders a patty with extra mayonnaise. Jellian Mr. Krabs comes and lies that they were out of the condiment called mayo, because the Jellians couldn't stand mayonnaise, and places a Jellian on his head to turn him into a Jellian, which succeeds. SpongeBob thinks that is weird, because the Krusty Krab had a fresh wall of mayo in the freezer and then sees the mayo, revealing the lie. He then tells Jellian Patrick that he is getting mayo for the guy's patty. Patrick turns his head around, his torso still facing the grill, and yells, "No mayonnaise." Then his mouth tentacles consume the patty to stop him from doing so. SpongeBob goes to the freezer and grabs a box of mayo, then looks through the peephole. It shows everyone in town, minus Sandy, hibernating in transparent green cocoons hanging from the ceiling, as the Jellian King commands his Jellians to do stuff for him, just like SpongeBob saw in the horror movie the night before. SpongeBob realizes that things are very wrong. He laughs nervously as he passes Jellian clone Patrick and is then ordered by Jellian Krabs to go home and take a nap just so he gets jellified. SpongeBob quickly flees from the Krusty Krab, with several Jellian bikini bottomites chasing him. Afterwards, he is grabbed by Sandy, who thinks he is a Jellian clone at first, but then discovers that it is really him by tickling him and making him giggle. They figure out that the Jellian's weakness is mayo since they ordered Krabby Patties with no mayonnaise, although Sandy already does not like mayonnaise, which SpongeBob replies, "Just like a Jellian," before he snaps out of it. They then leave with sunglasses with lens that look like Jellian eyes. Unfortunately, when joking in front of Mr. Krabs' Jellian clone, SpongeBob elbows Sandy, knocking off her sunglasses, and Krabs' Jellian clone shouts, "Imposters," which knocks off SpongeBob's sunglasses as well. The latter quickly grabs a mayo sprayer and defeats the entire town of Jellian clones. When a clone is destroyed, the real person of the clone awakens, and the cocoon they were held in disintegrates. After dealing with Jellian Patrick, who was the last one, SpongeBob and Sandy race to the Jellian King's hideout, containing everyone they know shivering in fear. SpongeBob destroys 3 of the Jellian King's jellyfish, but the mayo starts to freeze. He quickly throws the mayonnaise from the sprayer, but it freezes as well and lands in between the Jellian King's eye stems. Sandy quickly finishes the Jellian King by using the thermostat to turn up the heat, making the mayo quickly melt, destroying the Jellian King. The remaining Jellians, that were not hit by mayo, then pop like bubbles. SpongeBob explains everything, which only took 11 minutes. Patrick tastes the jelly and compliments it as a relish. Soon, the goo remaining from the clones and Jellians is served in Krabby Patties as relish patties, which cost $3 extra than regular Krabby Patties. Patrick then orders a relish patty and then says, "Hold the mayo." SpongeBob and Squidward hear this and look at Patrick in suspicion, and then the words, "The end," appear on the screen, ending the episode on a suspicious cliffhanger, being suspicious that it could turn people into Jellians again. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.